All right. Hey, everybody. I know it's been a bit. Um, been having some technical challenges, but I think I discovered that it was mostly a problem between the keyboard and the chair. One of the settings in the OVR toolkit that got switched around when there was a new version a few weeks ago. But I think I got everything sorted out. I did some offline testing of stuff. Um, we should be good to go. So we are going for a flight in the rain, which is always a bold move. We'll be going from Jackson, Mississippi to Corinth, I believe is the city. It's not going to be a crazy long flight. It is going to be on IFR because it's raining. And I don't know how the scenes are going to be, but, we're going to have some fun with it. I need to get this puppy heading north. So we put on the headset, calibrate. Let's see here. Make sure we got focus properly, and then we can get rolling here. Lower the chair a little bit to flying height. All right, here we are in the cockpit. Good. Verify the functionality. All right, so that's not the right window for that, but I can fix that. We got OVR toolkit figured out, so it's not being so obnoxious. It was one little setting. All right, I need to move these guys so I can move the keyboard back. And doing this stuff half blind is always fun. Window list. This is what we want. We want that guy. And we want to go back. We want to change his settings. We want to move him. So we're going to make him bigger. But that's actually supposed to be the Twitch chat. So that's going to be, I believe, this guy. There we go. And now we're good. Now, even though we see the vPilot, the ATC radio, we're using the built-in ATC today. On top of everything else, I really don't feel like dealing with air traffic control, because again, we're trying to get things sorted out. All right, so with that, let's start our pre-flight. All right. All right, we good? Ignition's off. I guess the parking brake was. Turn on the battery switch. All right, good. I fueled it up a little bit beforehand, so that's good, because I like to get extra fuel, especially in bad weather. That's looking good. Boot the avionics. Yeah, why not? Oops. Untuned panel. Let's test this. This might actually be a longer flight than I thought. Now that I'm looking at what the avionics said. Whatever. We'll listen to the radio. We'll have some fun. Because I have some new stuff there with the music. All right, good. Pre-flight looks all good. All right, let's check the aircraft, make sure my controls are set up. So there's my rudder, there's my ailerons, there's my elevator. All right. And honestly, with the way I move stuff around on this computer, that's actually not a bad thing to do. Oops. Yeah, my seats are good. Electrical's off. They're off. Fuel selectors on both. Fuel shut-off valve is open. All right, let's start this engine. Clear prop. Two, three, four, five. And contact. All right. It's always a great feeling when an engine fires up. Looks good. Looks good. Turn the avionics on. Transponder set to standby. I'm trying to get that to switch to okay, so it looks like it auto set my autopilot's barometer, so that's good. Because I was having some issues with that the other week where the autopilot did not agree with my altitude stuff. Now you'll notice my altimeter here, I'm 330 feet above sea level. That's kind of to be expected because, well, I'm not on the coast. All right. Don't really need those because it's not dark out. Strobe is on. Navigation lights on. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. Let me pull up ATC because we're going to need this. I want to listen to the weather. So hopefully we'll get above some of these clouds. We'll get our clearance for IFR. Okay, so we're going to set our altitude to 5,000 based on our clearance. Okay, so we've got our IFR clearance. That's good. We're going to release our parking brake. Brakes are working. Rudder's working. We need to actually go forward a little bit to check that. I guess I probably should have called for taxi. I'll request that now. All right, so let's do this. And we'll go around our guy over here. Oh, there we go. There's our taxi ribbon to show us how to go. All right. So we're just going to taxi over to the runway. And then we will do our run up and get everything else set that we need before we go. Actually, look at that. The clouds, we might have better visibility than I thought. So we good. Well, we're always good. We're flying. Well, we're not flying yet, but you know what I mean. We're going to be flying. For those of you who are joining for the first time or don't know the background, I'm actually from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. I flew the Cessna on a fake trip from Pennsylvania to Florida. Has to do with picking up a box of Apple II floppies from my uncle, who's sadly no longer with us, but it's a story, right? Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. And now we are returning. We're making a meandering return back to Pennsylvania. Rather than going back up the East Coast like the trip down, I'm going more middle of the country to fly through the Appalachian Mountains because I want to. Why am I... Shouldn't have that much torque. I seem to be ruddering to the... Well, whatever. Physics is a funny thing. Anyway, so the point is we're heading back north, and I want to fly specifically over the Appalachian Mountains. So we flew up the west coast of Florida, flew by my work buddy's house in Pensacola, then flew to New Orleans, and then the other week we flew from New Orleans to Jackson, Mississippi. Now, for various reasons, I haven't been flying lately. Some of it had to do with the software was giving me a hard time. Other things had to do with various fun things I was doing in real life, mostly fun things, right? And then distraction with this new game, the Viking game Valheim, and then Monster Hunter Rise just showed up. So yeah, there's, demand on my time. But today, on this most lovely Palm Sunday, we're flying in Mississippi. I think we're going to still end up being in Mississippi, but it'll be a nice little jaunt northward, and then we can swing east, and we'll be over those beautiful Appalachian Mountains. I have no idea if it's going to be beautiful or not. All right. Here we are holding short of the runway, so we can do our run-up. All right, so the seat's good. Final seat check, right? I'm not wearing a seat belt, but don't tell the game that. We're going to have the computer do this because I find this tedious. Those of you who watch me hear that all the time. All right, so we've got 166 nautical miles to go. Ooh, okay. Yeah, this is going to be a longer trip than I had originally planned. That's all right. You don't have to stay the whole time. Because quite frankly, this is about me flying. Parking brake's working, that's good. Okay, so let's see. Let's make sure we don't lose too much RPMage when we switch the magnetos. Looks good. Then we set it to both, which is production setting. All right. All right, so this is a good thing. We want to set our nav radio. So for our landing, we're using IFR. I need to get my head over there. We want 111.1 for the nav radio. So nav radio 1 needs to be shit. This is one thing where real knobs in real life are easier. All right, so our nav radio is set. We'll need that for when we're on our landing approach. Com radio is fine. Yeah, good. So radios are set. All right, so we've got our barometer set, we've got our desired altitude set, so we're good there. We want to be in GPS mode. There we go. So that we're following the GPS plotted course, not VOR. So that's good. Transponder, we want it on. All right, the elevator chim is all jabanked, so we'll fix that. I'm going to take off with 0 flaps. I don't like taking off with flaps down if I don't have to, because it's not a short takeoff. All right, let's get clearance for takeoff before I take the brake off. All right, do I need... Nope. I don't need the checklist any longer because I know what I'm doing. We'll put that down. All right, let's go. We're on our way to Corinth. Corinth? I don't know. It's a town in Mississippi. All right. Here we go. A little bit of right rudder. A little bit more right rudder. A little bit of left rudder to compensate. A little bit of right rudder. Okay, we're looking all right. We're zigzagging a little bit down the runway. Oh boy. All right, and rotate. And we are in the air. Beauty shot. All right, so I clearly have to fly some patterns because flying straight or going straight down the runway is problematic for me. So we are not going to worry about the specific direction I'm going in until I've got a little altitude. Because right now we're heading south and we really want to go north. But let me get in the air a little bit. Okay, well, we'll bank right a little bit. Hello, Jackson, Mississippi. I'm sorry it's a dreary day. All right. Let me trim for... Whoa! Let me trim for a climb. Keep an eye on my instruments. All right, so I'm going to engage the autopilot, and I'm going to turn on vertical speed mode. I always forget which button does that. Oh, actually, no, I'm in vertical speed mode already, climbing at 500 feet per minute. Let's increase that. Oh, I'm in vertical speed mode. All right. Well, you know what? 500 feet per minute is fine. And let's turn on nav mode. So the aircraft will start coming around to the course we're supposed to be on. Yeah, there we go. I feel like I can see sun. I did one flight out of Florida in the rain. But I can still see some stuff on the ground. So there's that. All right, what's our temperature? All right, we need to get these panel lights up a little. Whoa, stop doing that. There we go. Now I can see a little better. Sets local time. And that's temperature. So 54 degrees. I want to keep an eye on my temperature because if I hit 40 degrees when doing IFR, I've got to turn on the pitot heat. I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, crazier things have. Looks like I'm coming around to be on course, so that's fun. So I think it's time. We have two music options right now. We can do jump seat radio or we can do drunken pirate radio. So jump seat radio lets you do local radio stations. Right now so that seems to be classical music. Can't tell what that is. I think we're sticking with the NPR station. Or we'll go to Drunken Pirate Radio. But Jump Seat Radio lets you actually use internet radio stations and listen to them, and it's based on where you are locally. And as I fly, it'll the available stations will change. So that's kind of fun. So this is some Irish poet dude talking, I think. Ooh, it is a soup. This is not necessarily... Looks like distance to end is 133 nautical miles. It's going to be a long flight. I need to do some shorter hops because the takeoffs and the landings are the most interesting part. All right, now I'm going to see if the autopilot actually stops at 5,000 in the altimeter, because the other week it wasn't doing that. The autopilot disagreed with the setting. Butterscotch? We had a cat named Butterscotch. He was a goofball. Eehee! They murdered the ice cream man. Oh God, this is one of those the Troubles poems, isn't it? Now that's interesting. This thing's taken me. Oh no, these things actually agree with each other. I know. We had some confusion here. You need to chill. I think it was just a matter of I didn't hit the controls right because the um the altimeter acknowledged I was at the autopilot knew I was at 5400, which matched the altimeter. So I don't know what was going on there. I guess I should have flipped to vertical speed mode by hand, but I'm paranoid about touching the autopilot when I'm so close. See, here we go. Now she's settling in. Let me lean the engine a little bit. Whoa, that wasn't good. Don't want to lean too much. You know, I would actually like to request a cruising altitude increase. All right, so we're going to climb up to 9,000 feet. And we're going to do it at 1,000 feet per minute. Because what I'm trying to do is I want to get above these clouds if that's possible. Oh boy, we are. Let's do it at 700 feet per minute because we're losing too much speed, and we'll fully. Oh fuck, we're gonna stall. Let's do 600. Problem is, if we bleed off too much speed, we can't climb. We got into the situation back in Jersey at one point. or I got too aggressive with my climb speed, let off too much speed, and was in a blah, blah, blah situation. So ready to let myself, I'm going to try to pick up a little speed. Oh, okay, here we go. We've broken through some of these clouds. Maybe that can help me get some speed back up as well, not being in the middle of a cloud. Surprised ATC hasn't yelled at me to climb faster. Climb faster, you son of a bitch! Because they've done that before. So pretty. It is literally another world up here. Here we go. Now we're at 500 feet per minute. Our speed is stable. Yeah, every time we get into clouds, the drag from the moisture really reduces our speed. As long as we don't drop our speed too much, though, we can continue this climb. And again, I think 9,000 feet we should be between cloud layers. Our schedule. I might be listening to this guy just because of his cool Irish accent. I'm not going to lie. We're losing too much forward speed. Cutting my climb rate down a little bit. And this is an ugly little pile of clouds in front of me. Sorry, Bob Ross. Not happy. Those are not happy clouds. Oh my god, my tail number is wrong. It's supposed to be 212 Romeo Hotel. I need to fix that. Hello, Mr. Ajax Cat. Me, wow. All right, you know what? This guy's fascinating, but I think it's time for Drunken Pirates. Oh, airspeed's taking a hit. Oh, rainbow! That is so friggin' cool that the engine does stuff like that. Is that kind of like when you're driving down the highway and you see cows? Look, cows! Same childlike wonder. Yeah, so Mississippi's looking kind of flat from up here. Yeah, let me fix that. There we go. Should be much better. It was very faint because I had it quiet the last time I was listening to it because I was using live ATC. Now I'm just using the built-in, so I don't care. But also, if it's too loud, I feel like when I'm talking, I'm like, it's like multiple people talking in one room, and my brain hurts. That cloud looks like an angry Viking helmet. Yikes! Is that a sign that I should be playing Valheim? Maybe. Oh, hello, pretty Mississippi. Not re... Well, the music track is about at the maximum volume that I want it blasting in my ear where I can still think. Plus, if I'm honest, I have a slight headache. I think I'm having a bit of an immunoresponse to the vaccine because I think I still have some antibodies floating around. Thanks, bud. Yeah, so that's annoying. My arm hurts. I mean, I expected that, but I had a little bit of. I was playing. Okay. Sorry, ATC wants me. And I'm fine. You know, I'll be fine. I guess I'm maybe a little bit happy because, again, I've said for a while that I think I still have antibodies and I'm probably somewhat immune. So to me, that validates it. Now, that might just be my fifis. I don't know. Woo! I don't know how much science there really is in that conclusion. What I am told is that folk who maybe haven't had COVID, they get the first vaccine, they really don't feel anything. They get the second one, and their body like does the immuno response to it, and they get their ass kicked a little bit. So I guess I'm kind of like taking that experience, trying to overlay it on my own, if that makes sense. All right, we're making good time. But yeah, I wanted to get some flying in today, man. It's been a while since I've managed to do a stream. I had some software issues that I've got sorted out. Yo, hey, right? Clearly, I need to use the proper essential oils here. All right, so we're about an hour from our destination, 97 nautical miles. How this is going to work, we're going to be landing at Corinth, which is an airport in Mississippi. I set us up for an instrument landing approach on runway 18, which means we land coming from the north. We need to be at 2,400 feet when we hit the marker, and before we go into approach mode. And I set us up for IFR because the weather was sketchy. And I didn't want a chance having to land in a soup. Now, if you look at the beginning of the broadcast, it was actively raining in Jackson. Now we've got scattered clouds below us and some angry clouds to our starboard. Now I'm talking like a Viking, right? But overall, it's turning into a nicer morning. And I'm going to back the throttle off no, I'm not going to back the throttle off. I don't care about fake gas. I care more about making good time. Such a dad thing. Our effective ground speed is 142 knots. Which is awesome. I think we might have a little bit of a tailwind. And this song is just like perfect. All the feels as we drive by this big angry looking cloud. What song is this? This is good. I'm going to favorite that sucker. I like this. And now that we're calm, I want to double check the radio setting for the navigation radio. 111.1, that is what I set. All right, good. That, in case you're wondering what I'm looking at, that's the loc. That's the locator frequency. And this airport is 425 feet above sea level. So our altimeter, this guy, when we're on the ground, it'll read right about here. If we are below 400, that means we're cratered and we are digging a hole with the propeller. So we don't want to do that. Let's get some beauty shots here. Oh, look at that. Very pretty country. I will say there's enough clouds that I'm concerned about a visual approach. I'm glad I went with IFR. Oh, 40 degrees. Thanks for pointing that out. Got to turn on the pitot heat. That's the rule. I think it says it on the panel here somewhere. There are I remember seeing that on one of the instruction plates about the pitot heat. It needs to be on when you're in IFR flight conditions and the temperature is 40 degrees or below. But I don't remember where that was. Oh well. So I've turned it on because our temperature, as we can see from the thermometer, is 40 degrees outside at this altitude. And the pitot is that guy right there. That is how the aircraft, the air blows through there. That's how the aircraft decides how fast we're going. And that's pretty important for IFR. Look at that autopilot playing with that elevator trim. It's doing all that work to maintain the altitude. Better him than me. All right, 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Ugh. So, hey, Jax, you up for some Valheim today together? What's your day look like? $7:45. That's an oddly specific time. That actually, I figured it was something like that. Well, maybe some Valheim this afternoon because I've got a crew meeting at 7. It's the new scouting unit. We're doing our kickoff meeting at 7 tonight. And then Sharon and I normally do dinner and then we watch some TV together. So I'm pretty Yeah, yeah, trial at 8. That makes sense. Oh, this is one of my favorites, man. Good old Maui. Onward bound to the elastic sound and a secondary. The dam and the anchor run goes from old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui. My boys rolling down to old Maui. That would be even, an appropriate mood. That's very Viking weather. Again, exhalation months away on the cold Kamchatka Sea. To old Maui. Down to old Maui, my boys rolling down to old Maui. Scott! I'm trying to figure out why we don't listen to Drunken Sailor Radio when we're Valheiming. Although the Valheim music is so good that we really don't need third-party music. That's probably why. To old Maui. And I keep getting text messages, and I don't know who they're from, and it's probably not that important. Look out. Need to see. Down for old Maui. Down to old Maui, my boys. Old Maui. Down to old Maui, my boys. To old Maui. So I switched back to the built-in weather engine because I'm not thrilled with the new third-party one that I bought a few months ago. It occasionally just doesn't seem to be feeding the data into the simulator. And contrary to some behavior of the weather engine in the past, I fired up a flight, the weather was bad, I went back to the main menu, I changed something because I hadn't set for IFR. I had set up for VFR, changed to IFR, and half expected the weather to be clear and sunny because that's what has often happened in the past. And lo and behold, the weather was still accurate. So I'm kind of wondering, we've had a couple of patches, and when I search for Flight Simulator weather not working, the most recent hits are in December. I wonder if maybe they fixed it. Because it was doing that behavior to me what I thought was fairly recently, but there's been two big patches, well, a big patch and a few hot fixes since the last time I streamed. I don't know what all that was about, other than saying, the Microsoft Flight Simulator, especially the VR part and the streaming part, I feel like I'm riding a wild tiger hanging on barely by its tail with the way the software changes. With Steam VR updates, with the OVR Toolkit updates, with the simulator itself. What works one week I might fully break the next time I try and do it. And as someone who works for a company that prides itself on products that let people rely on standard behavior over a long period of time, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, it makes me appreciate when our customers get driven crazy when things just start breaking because it changes. It was working! Well, yeah, but we patched it. But there's this weird ass interaction between all the packages. I don't know. That was a mini rant. This mini rant brought to you by the dude who shut down his computer in a rage last night because OVR Toolkit was misbehaving. Misbehaving because of a setting I screwed up, but misbehaving nonetheless. I rage powered off the PC. Then hopped on the Discord, started chatting with the guy who wrote the software. We chatted about a few possibilities, and then I was doing some testing and flipping some settings, and now it's working. Oh, it's not my favorite because it's basically an adult tantrum, but it is a maneuver I do. I'm like, this is supposed to be fun. I don't feel like taking your shit right now, computer, software, whatever's giving me shit. So I'm done. I'm flipping over the game board because you put me in check. But what was happening is every time I bring up the OVR Toolkit windows and I would try to change the windows or whatever by going into edit mode, the performance became unusable. But there's a setting where it wasn't tabbing back out. Oh my God, did a customer call you last night? Did you get a work call on a friggin' Saturday night? I mean, you don't have to give details. That's more of a yes or no question. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Dude, that sucks. It says I'm at altitude. Okay. Whatever. Well, now you got me wanting to chat about it, but... Oh, I do know who you mean. Yeah, okay, this is going to be a very ranty conversation. I know that already. We'll just leave it at that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be, we're 36 minutes from the destination airport. I'm going to land. It might be lunchtime at that point on the East Coast because it's 10:06 where I am now. I think I think that means it's 11:06 in Pennsylvania, right? Right, Ajax? I can't tell because I'm wearing all this stuff. And I don't have a system clock. Yeah. So I think by the time I land, it'll be like probably and park and everything. It'll probably be like a quarter to 12. So I'm gonna eat lunch, see what's going on with the wife, and then yeah, I'll reach out to you. Yeah. That matches. Yeah, I'm one time zone over right now. Because honestly, Ajax rants are kind of fun. Let's see where I am relative to where I started. No doubt. So yeah, you can see our whole. You can see we've made decent progress on our course there. About 2/3 of the way to where we're going. Actually, our distance to the end is... Well, I think it realizes it's looping us a little beyond the airport to do our landing. Because we pass over that airport and then swing north. Let's see what the flight plan looks like. Yeah, I mean, it's not a complicated flight plan. It's the silly gnome. Hello, silly gnome. And as someone who plays a gnome in a D&D campaign now, I feel seen because my gnome is a little silly. Gnome wizard rogue because we dinged level 2 and I took a level in rogue because my gnome is he was in the Jewel Crafters Guild and he likes tinkering and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? He's going to leverage that experience and know how to pick locks and be roguish. Primarily going to stay wizard, but a level or two of rogue can't hurt. He also has associates who are slightly on the colorful side, which is one reason the guild is like, yeah, you're not really going to run with us anymore because you're a little too sketch. Oh, different version of Maui. Not complaining. All right, so 32 nautical miles from our destination. Rolling down to old Maui, my boys. Old Maui. The altimeter keeps changing on me. And down to old Maui, my boys. To old Maui. I'm trying to read some of the stuff. So he's at 36,000. Because flight levels are, it's a 3-digit number, and then you add the zeros at the end. 2 zeros. But you generally aren't talking flight levels until over, I think, 18,000 feet? I think 18,000 feet's the delimiter. This aircraft has an operational ceiling of, I think, 17,000 feet, but that's not particularly realistic. Or is it 12,000? I don't know. Yeah. The Cessna can't go... the ceiling is at most 17,000, but I don't think that's a realistic ceiling. I think I've maybe... Oh, have I... I gotta check my flight logs. Maybe I've had it about at 12,000 feet once. I don't remember. Might have been that flight in Florida. That storm. Ajax Cat saw that flight. That one was pretty friggin' intense. See, that's my destination up there. In real life, I probably would not have flown that. Durr. it was not. It wasn't a particularly wise decision to fly in that weather. So our airport is slightly off to our left side because our course is at about 20 degrees. Oh, I have a sense of adventure. I just, when I'm playing with my real life, it's a little different. Growing up, having a boat, we sometimes were in very interesting situations that make me question our common sense now. Yeah, so a little bit of a difference on a pretend aircraft versus a real aircraft. Cortana? Is that a bot? Has my COVID vaccination summoned Bill Gates into my Twitch channel? I knew it. My anti-vaxxer buddies were right. Right? Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, let's not ever do that again. Milli Vanilli. I think that's the distance to the... distance to the waypoint? That would make sense because... yeah, okay. Then the autopilot will swing us north. All right, we're about 20 minutes from the airport at this speed. That could change, right? Because things can change. Did I get the setting right? Brr. You bet. BRB, LOL. just like cancel IFR at this point and land visually? Because it looks kind of pretty. I don't know. We'll proceed as planned. Could be overcast. A little hazy. Should be an airport over there, like in front of me. Oh, there it is. That's not where we're going, but that's the airport on the navigation. All right. This should be amusing. Oh yeah, my estimated time just went up because my speed dropped because of my direction. Oh yeah, that's fine. Such is life. Yeah, we're back to a half hour out now. That's okay. I could have canceled and landed at that airport there if I was getting tired, but I'm fine. We're definitely seeing nicer weather here, though, than in Jackson. I will say that. $9,000 in the air. And is that a jet I hear off to the left? I don't know. Let's see what stations we have available on our live radio. All right, let's see here. Oh, University of Mississippi. Let's see what they're playing. Not really my style. Let's see what kind of hippiness that guy has. Oops. Let's see what Starkville's like. Huh. I'm not sure what genre this is, but it's Mississippi, so we're going to just let this play a little bit. Let's pull this out a little bit. All right, so what we're doing is it looks like it's taking us west of the airport and north to come in for the ILS approach. That's cool. I suspect this might be bluegrass or something like that, which would enrage my one daughter, which is actually now amusing me. Sorry, Abs. So like I said, what this program is called Jump Seat Radio, and it integrates with Flight Simulator. It reads your location and then presents localish radio stations that are presented in theory to the internet, and you can play them. Which is interesting, to say the least. So we're just giving that a fly. All right, it seems like the two are in agreement because it's bringing me down a little bit again to hold at what looks to be 9,000 feet. Very good. I mean, I don't demand perfection with the autopilot, but I'd like it to be close. And I get that the barometric pressure is going to change and throw things off every so often. And this altimeter setting is not slave to the autopilot. It has its own barometric setting, which kind of makes me wonder if I shouldn't trade this Cessna back in for my glass cockpit one. I think what I want to do is I want to legit get this Cessna back to Allentown, and then I might do some touring with my friend Rod has an aircraft which is also in the simulator. It's I think it's a Cirrus, whatever. It is sweet, and it's a little faster. And he says that the handling in the simulator is pretty close to the real world handling of it. So I may start doing some stuff with that plane. We'll see. We're at half fuel. We're fine. Got plenty of fuel. Truth told, I kind of like this. The music, that is. And actually, Jump Seat might be a winner. Maybe I'll discover some new genres of music. Who knows? Crazier things have happened. Very bouncy right now up here. All the clouds have been clearing, which is really nice. Should be a very we shouldn't have any issues with having to cancel our approach due to visibility. Although we are getting a little bit of haze now. Yeah, and I have no idea what the FAA would say about me listening to a radio in my while flying. They probably wouldn't be particularly happy, but again, video game. It would be different if it was not in VR and I could be distracted. Well, that's not really good either, right? But be distracted by other screens or whatever. With the VR, it kind of forces me to focus on the situation I'm in, which is in the cockpit. And I can sort of intrude upon that with OVR Toolkit. Have I watched YouTube videos while on autopilot? Maybe. Yes, I have. I would argue that it's on my tablet, which is attached. A lot of when you see a lot of YouTube videos of people flying for real, they tend to have tablets with them, and they strap to the wheel, and that's actually used to both take notes with the stylus, as well as to provide charts on demand. But I'm sure there are people who have downloaded an episode or two of The Mandalorian to watch while flying. Actually, I don't think you can do that natively with Disney Plus, but you know what I'm saying. I'm sure people have misbehaved. I mean, hell, people can't keep their eyes off their phones when they're driving. And quite frankly, I haven't really been touching too much this entire flight. Oh, wow, we're at 33 degrees. It's chilly up here. I have come north, but have I come that much north? It is significantly cold, but it's significantly colder up at 9,000 feet here than it was prior. Can I hear the locator yet? The Morse code? Yep, I hear the Morse code from the locator, so that's great. That means I probably have the right one tuned in. Let me see what the pattern is. It should have the Morse code pattern that you're listening for. Where the heck is it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the pattern. Okay, fantastic. Because the locator is a radio. I realize obvious statement is obvious. Oh, okay. Didn't realize I was supposed to be descending. Let's do that. So since I'm doing a maneuver, throwing the mixture all the way in, we'll reduce our speed, and then what we'll do is we will decrease our altitude. We will go to vertical speed mode on, and we will descend at 1,000 feet per minute. Working on it, buddy. We're set to it now. That's okay. Dumbass air traffic control is all of a sudden yelling at me to expedite my descent when I never started it in the first place. So fine, we'll go down really fast. What? Dive! Well, actually, I'm going down at, what's my rate of descent? 1,600 feet per minute. I'd call that a dive. My altimeter, while not quite spinning, is dropping rapidly. My airspeed, even though my throttle is basically almost idled, in fact, it is idled, my airspeed is still pretty high. So I'm idling throttle now. Oh man, heavy bluegrass. Or country, I don't know. This channel would enrage Abigail, my daughter. But it's Mississippi. It's an accurate radio station, apparently. All right, so 2400. Is that where I want to be for my approach? Yes, it is. Fantastic. And the airport should be on my right side, or coming up on my right side. Do I see the airport? Maybe? I'm going to trust the friggin' autopilot because I don't have visual on the airport from here. That or I'm just really bad at seeing things. Which is a possibility. That could, what I'm looking at right now in the middle of my screen could be the airport. But I don't know for sure. But it should be almost right off our right side. Because you can see on the GPS. And Ajax, if you're wondering what the fuckity fuck is happening on the music, this is from the Jump Seat Radio. We're tuned into Starkville, Mississippi. I don't know if you caught all that. All right. Oh, all right. We're coming up on 3,000. Or down on 3,000, I guess, would be more accurate. Going to prepare to increase my throttle. Really? Maybe I fucked around with the settings inside OBS. I'll have to double check that when I'm not, like, flying the aircraft. Because I can't look at OBS in virtual reality. Maybe I don't have that. Maybe I was messing with that slider too much. I'll check that once I'm safely on the ground. I appreciate that, bud. All right. Here we go. I am now at a far more sane all right, we're just going to keep the mixture at rich right now. All right. It has turned into a beautiful day. I feel like I'm almost cheating doing an ILS approach, but I also kind of like ILS approaches, so screw it. Tight. All right, we gotta. Did she just talk about feeding her cat? Hey, Bubba. I actually know Bubba J USA in real life, but I will not identify him. All right. So, if you've joined us late, we're about 12 minutes from landing in Corinth, Mississippi, as we continue our journey home from Florida. I've talked about this a little bit, but I'm taking an approach along the more inland over the Appalachian Mountains, hit Pennsylvania from the western side, and then fly east. So for all my Penn State fans, I'll make a point out of flying over State College. In fact, if it's a logical resting point, maybe I'll try and land in State College. Again, make all my Penn State fans happy. I'm Rutgers, so you guys were my natural enemy in basketball back in the 90s or 80s. Well, the damn Florida thing comes in from I started in Allentown, where we live, right, dude? And flew down the East Coast to Florida just because I felt like it. It was a symbolic flight. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm flying legit back home. Now, I flew down to Florida in about a week and a half because I was flying more consistently. I've been taking my time coming back north, and I headed west towards New Orleans because I wanted to fly past Pensacola where one of my coworkers lives. So I'm definitely meandering back north. And these are parts of the United States I've never been to in real life. So even though we're starting to kick the pandemic's ass, this is an opportunity to travel in some small way. Hello, Mississippi. Now, to be frank, Mississippi doesn't look different than a lot of Pennsylvania. You bet. Contacting. Three 0.11. Oh, the plane's adjusting to drift me back down. Okay. All right, we're coming in nicely here. Is that where we hit the approach? Where do we actually hit the approach button? UU is when I hit the approach button, which is when I tell the autopilot, land, sucker. Okay. Looks good. But what's that approach vector there? Once I'm on the line between CI18 and UU, I can then probably flip over to the VOR, the localizer, for my control. You guys keep bouncing me around. You're starting to annoy me. I wasn't hot. Yeah, there wasn't enough deviation before for the autopilot to safely take over. Now there was. All right, so the airport should be over there somewhere. If it were nighttime, I would see it clearly. But this is where I'm going to just trust the autopilot. Hey, Bubba, let me know if you can get spousal permission to come over specifically to try the flight simulator out. I'll actually let you run through the tutorials with the takeoff and the landing and stuff like that, so you can get a real feel for it. They're pretty solid. Oh crap! Is this an uncontrolled approach? That's awkward. All right, it's time to dial back the speed. All right, we're going to switch over to the locator, which will actually bring me in more exact. So that's this instrument right here. We're going to first focus on the center thing. The autopilot's going to pull me over until that's in the middle, and then we'll be aligned centered with the locator. And then as we approach UU, that's when we actually can hit the approach button on the autopilot, which does the actual landing. And then we'll call out that we're on final once we do that. Let's reduce speed a little more because we're coming in very hot. We're arming approach mode. Once that top line hits, it'll lock and it'll take us right down. We'll see the vertical speed should shift. It's called catching the approach. We've caught the approach. Let's do some flaps. Now we just got to manage speed. And there's the runways right there. You can see them slightly off to the left. It's compensating because of wind. Feet on the rudder pedals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the autopilot take us in almost to the surface of the runway. And then I'll shut the autopilot off and fly the plane in myself for the rest. 70 knots. Yeah, see, we're kind of crabbing because of wind. Yeah, it looks like I picked essentially an airport without a tower because I'm announcing all the stuff manually. And do I see anybody else that I might collide with? No. And no one else is called out being in the traffic pattern, so... Gotta keep my speed down. Yeah, we're on the glide slope. Good. We're a little high. Although, you can see the PAPI lights next to the runway. I got 2 red and 2 white, which is good. That means that I am on the glide slope. That uses some physics to show whether or not you're coming in at the right angle. If you've got red, you're dead because you're too low. If you've got white, you're going to be out of sight because you're too high. So you want 2 red and 2 white out of the 4. Definitely coming in crabbing though, which means that once I turn the autopilot off, I'm going to have to probably start compensating with the rudder. All right. We're almost over the terminus of the runway. We're a little low. We're allowed to use the whole runway, though. All right. Disengaging the autopilot. I have the aircraft. Reducing throttle. Ruddering over a little bit. Throttle's at 0. We are... Oh, crap. Ah! Okay, that's embarrassing. Into the grass. Oh, into the grass. Let's not tell the insurance company that, okay? Wow, that's my messiest landing ever. What did I do? Did I kick the throttle the wrong way? Maybe. I'm going to have the mechanics take a look at it. Make sure I didn't damage anything. I think I kicked the wrong rudder pedal. That was not my best landing. Duh. Was not clear a runway, so I'm not going to announce that. I think it was a problem between the yoke and the seat. I'm going to be picking some plant life out of my landing gear. See, where can I park? Probably over there, right? No, I'm not. Oh, that's so not happening. I'm not rich. All right. I'm going to go over and park near that fuel pump. Hey, I didn't crash. The simulator did not do the whole, you have sustained critical damage to the aircraft. So I'm calling that a relative success. All right. Smiley face indeed. Welcome to some backwoods town in Memphis, Corinth, or Mississippi, and shutting the aircraft down. Yeah, shut everything off. Why aren't we terminating the flight? No? You don't think we're done? Okay. That's fine. I think because I said I was taxiing to the runway, it thought I was going to fly more. I was not. I did not, right. So what was happening there, the reason we're at this airport, let me shut this off. is because when I originally plotted the flight last night, there were thunderstorms and stuff. I was originally going to fly more east, but instead I did a flight north to go to Corinth. Here, let's do this. Let's get out of VR. What am I doing? VR. Yeah. And let's go back to OBS Toolkit. Oh, and let me check this. Speakers, USB audio. No, you guys should have been hearing the music. The speakers are all turned up. Unless the VR headset, which is now off, was a speaker. You know what? I'm going to look into that the next time I set up. All right. So let me show you what was going on.
Ajax Scat said, "Now I hear it."
Well, yeah, because we're using a different audio source. So here's the map, and you see these blue chunks? These are essentially weather warnings saying, "Hey, there's storms and shit
said,
in this area."
As soon as you turned off VR.
Yeah, that's what's going on. I got to check the audio settings. So we flew from here in Jackson to here, to Corinth. Originally, I was going to go to... Where was I going to go to? I was originally either going to hit Atlanta or... It was not Corinth. It was a different airport. Oh, those friggin' dogs. I was going to head more east, but there was a lot of weather and it was closer yesterday. So I plotted a course north instead. So where's this put us in our big picture? Well, actually not that bad, because my goal is to head over to the east now. Here's the Appalachian Mountains, and eventually end up in Pennsylvania up here, right? There's Allentown right there. So we needed to come north anyway, and now we can start heading east. I could even head... So what'll probably... Yeah, there's Andrews right there. So Athens, Georgia might not be a bad next hop. It would be a similarly timed flight to this one. Land there, and then on my next flight, start doing the drive, right? The flight north. Where did I find Athens? But anyway, so that's kind of what was going on. Maybe we'll go to Chattanooga. That's what was going on. That's why I plotted the course I plotted, to kind of dodge weather, but also to get us a little more north. All right, hopefully that makes sense. All right, it is 12:10. I have to get rid of a coffee rental, and I'm hungry, but I'm going to count this as a successful flight. I'm going to log it. So today was what, the 28th? Yeah, I'm going to log that in the book, and we start in Corinth next time I fly. So let's see. You can see I crossed it off twice. That was due to all of my my software issues. See down at the bottom, we crossed it off twice. I first tried to do it actually to a different airport back on the 20th, and I got so pissed off that I gave up. KCRX. But today was a complete success. Glad I got that all sorted out. All right.
Commander Root, welcome to my channel.
And Commander Root arrives just as I'm shutting everything down. Oh boy. I feel a little bad. All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna bail. I'll put the video up in a little while. Ajax, I will follow up with you, and we can maybe do some Viking, and you can rant all about your inappropriate phone call you received last night. But everyone take care. Thanks for swinging by.